I was pretty unfit growing up, and my friends used to tease me. So I started my fitness journey very early on.
10 दिन तेल लगाओ बाल उगाओ exist for years now. Traya in Sanskrit means three science. So the whole idea is to bringing three sciences together. And we had come across something which was really working.
I would have liked to invest in Zepto. It was called Kirana Cart at that time. They were doing fruit and veg delivery in 15 minutes. I didn't think there was a market gap. They pivoted and I lost the investment.
तो सुबह फ्रूट खाना चाहिए कि नहीं खाना चाहिए आपने अभी तक पता नहीं खा सकते हो वन फिटनेस में यू वुड लाइक टू डिबंक
आप लिवर को डिटॉक्स मत करो यार. लिवर खुद वो काम करता है आपकी पूरी बॉडी के लिए.
इतना अगर बायोटेक में पढ़ा होता तो आज मेरे को कॉमेडी करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ता. Hello, and welcome to the episode 4 of the Superleap podcast, podcast about sales and marketing. And today we have very eminent guests from the health and wellness industry. We have 3 of them. They're crazy. Okay, they're amazing. But before we start the episode, please like, share, subscribe, etc., etc. Please, if you want more episodes like this, subscribe. You subscribe, otherwise the episodes won't come. Okay, the algorithm has changed. Okay. So you have to subscribe, press the bell icon also. Okay, our first guest today is Saloni Anand, and she's the co-founder of Traya, and Traya is a customized hair growth plan, which she will explain what it is. It is definitely something to do with hair growth, but it's customized, and there's some planning involved. So,
Sorry, I can't stop.
she will explain. Don't get confused. Our second guest today is Jitendra from Fittr, also popularly known as JC. And Fittr is an online wellness platform that is individualized, right, for everyone. Our third guest today is Arjun Vaidya. Arjun is the founder of V3 Ventures, which is a venture capital firm that invests in consumer-facing businesses across Europe, India, and US. Amazing. So we have a 3-point perspective on the entire industry. But before we go any further, a little bit about the journeys of the guests today, starting with Saloni. Saloni, how come you reached here at Traya? How did you become a co-founder, etc., etc.?
So Traya was born out of a personal health struggle that my husband was going through. He went through severe hypothyroidism, hair loss, weight gain, multiple other issues. This was thanks to his previous startup. That's what startups do to founders. But in that journey of finding a solution to his uncontrollable hypothyroidism, we came across Ayurveda for the first time in life. And we combined allopathy, Ayurveda, and food science to really fix his health. And during that journey, his hair regrew. Almost 2 years later, we were at a point and we said, hey, there's huge gap in the chronic health space. Why is there not a single clinic where the 3 doctors are sitting together and saying, hey, let's make this compatible for the patient? And with that thought, we started researching. One thing led to other. Hair loss seemed most exciting. We were at that age where everyone around us was losing hair, wanting to get married. The formulations were coming out really well. So with that, we started a hair loss company. 4 years later, we still just do hair loss. Well, that was not the plan, but that's what happened. Traya in Sanskrit means 3 science. So the whole idea is to bringing 3 sciences together. But we started this company with very clear vision that whatever is out there is not growing hair. There are claims, but it's not growing hair. 10 दिन तेल लगाओ बाल उगाओ exist for years now. And we had come across something which was really working. So it was for the efficacy that we started Traya.
Got it. But this is your first startup. You have not done
This
startup
is
before.
personally my first startup. This is my co-founder's third startup.
Okay. Before this, you were doing what? Regular job?
Yeah, regular job. Before this, I think I loved entrepreneurship, and so I chose to work in a very small startup. And my role was EIR, where I was owning a health tech SaaS tool called Upshot, and I took care of the 0 to 1 there for them. Of course, it's very different from founding it yourself, but that was my first experience to what it takes to really build something ground up. So I spent about 4 years there before starting Traya.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Okay. I have no further questions.
Super.
I think very clear. Very clear. Um, Coming to Jitendra, how did you start your journey? I know a little bit and it's a very interesting story.
Right.
So, but for the audience, how did you start this entire thing, Fitter?
So by profession, I'm a software engineer, and I come from a very small town. I was pretty unfit growing up, and my friends used to tease me. So I started my fitness journey very early on. When I was 14, I started working out. So it's been good 20, 25 years since I've been training. Um, Around 2014, I started focusing more on health and fitness after I became a father. So I had picked up some bad habits like smoking and drinking. So after my daughter's birth, I quit those habits and I started focusing more on my fitness journey and took part in some fitness modeling, contests, and so got a little bit of exposure on social media. So people started approaching me and they asked me if I can help them get fit. So this is all started from a small WhatsApp group where I was training people for free, and then one thing led to another, and yeah,
So you start from WhatsApp group.
we started from WhatsApp group.
Oh my God. So how many people are there in this group?
Back then, WhatsApp used to have a limit of 200 people.
Okay.
So first it was 200 people, but then more people started getting results. The group was like there was more demand, so then we moved to Facebook group, and then in 2016 we formed the company.
But it was called Squats at that time.
Yeah, it was called Squats.
Squads.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I
I
mean,
was on the group, the Facebook group.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so
Oh,
it from,
wow.
yeah, it was just a Q&A group, and people used to ask questions about health and fitness. We used to resolve their queries, and then people said, "But this is fine. But why don't you personally train us?" And I was like, "I don't like training people." So I said, instead of me personally training you, I'll educate people, and then you can go ahead and train people. So then overall, like a lot of people, I started training, and then they became coaches, and then they started training other people. And later on, we formulated our own company that now trains people, offers a diploma, and then we train people from there. And then the top graduates from that company, we hire in as fitter coaches.
wow. What I love about the story is that when I asked how many people are there in the WhatsApp group, you're like, it has a limit of 200.
Back then,
yeah, it's like, okay, so at least 200 were there. So at least 200 people are there, which is amazing. But also, what is really fascinating is that we see so many Facebook groups, etc. And we just think, okay, this is some time pass. But one can actually build a proper business out of it.
Yeah, our story completely started on Facebook. Like it's publicly, like he'd know probably. So ground brick by brick, all from WhatsApp to Facebook to.
That's amazing. It's just so many simple things in life that one can build a business around.
Sure.
If you're just paying, attention to what people want, etc.
Yeah.
There's another company. It's called RVCJ. Have any
I
of
know.
you-
Yeah, they started at the same time. Yes.
Isn't it crazy?
It's-
It's called Rajnikant versus CID jokes.
Yes. That's the
what-
full form of
that's
the
the full
company.
form,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a full form of the.
This was just a Facebook group called Rajnikant versus CID
yeah,
jokes.
a meme page actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every day they would post, like that time Rajnikant jokes were very popular and then CID jokes were very
Yes.
popular. Okay. And then they started, which one is, I think the whole funda was to find out which one is more funny, like Rajnikant versus CID jokes. That's what it's called, RVCJ. Okay.
Yes.
And now they're an incorporated media company,
Yes.
RVCJ Media. They make shows. It's just Rajnikant versus CID jokes. So yeah, friends, don't take meme pages lightly. Maybe one day they will employ you. Amazing. Thank you so much. Arjun, how did you become a venture capitalist? Where the money came from? Please tell us.
Yeah, actually, my journey started with a startup. I grew up with asthma, suffered from juvenile bronchitis, and my dada cured me using Ayurvedic products. So I promised him at that time when I was 15 and a half that I'll do something with this family legacy. My family has been in Ayurveda for 150 years. My last name Vaidya means Ayurvedic doctor. So my dada ran a clinic, which my great-grandfather ran before him. And I spent some time in the US. I did my undergrad in the US. And other than my degree, I saw lots of proliferation of yoga mats, yoga gyms, yoga apparel. And India didn't have much to do with that growth and proliferation. And so What they did is actually repackage, rebrand what we have, make it appeal to modern consumers, and build a large business out of it. So I remember calling my grandfather from campus and telling him, it's amazing that yoga is global, but it's not so amazing that a Dutch girl is teaching me as an Indian person yoga. I came back to India 13. I worked a job in finance, actually, in private equity, and then my dada passed. And when he passed, I was 24. I had pretty much nothing to lose, and so I quit my job and I said, I'll take on my dada's clinic and whatever formulations he has and make a brand out of it. So in 5 years, we built India's largest Ayurveda brand online. Took those formulations, eventually launched 80 products, got to 2 million transacting customers, raised some money from a large India-based conglomerate, and then eventually in 21 sold the business to them. So that's the roundabout answer to eventually in 2022, then I started investing and set up this VC fund to invest in consumer-focused businesses. The idea was whatever I learned from my experience as a founder, can I sort of help other founders get similar journeys?
Got it. How much money you made when you sold your company? Okay, friends, Google it. He's too shy to say how much money you made. But nice money you made. Since you became a venture capitalist, that means nice. So what kind of companies you invest in? I'll start one right now. Tell me, what is the...
I built a consumer brand. So
Yeah.
we focus on consumer-facing businesses, brands, technology, platforms. That's the focus.
Got it. What is the gap in the market that you're looking at right now? Okay, somebody starts a company in this space.
Specifically because we're talking about health and wellness, all of us have built health and wellness brands, and I think it's a journey of patience, honestly, to build in the health and wellness space, because it doesn't have instant offtake. Like if you start a fashion product or you start a personal care product which is non-ingestible or not something so involved, it takes a little bit more time, which is why there are actually less founders in the health and wellness space. But because there are less founders, actually, there's lots of scope and gap, right? Like we were talking before we started the podcast about supplements. 6 years ago, 7 years ago, when I started, nobody took preventive supplements in India. Now we are saying people are taking too many supplements. So I think if you are to develop something unique, whether it's a proposition or a product, and you are a little bit patient, anything in health and wellness actually has massive opportunity, especially post-COVID. Pre-COVID, it was all about problem solution. It was all, I have this problem, I'll come to a solution. But as we are getting more conscious, and both of them have seen it as well, people are looking for preventive solutions, but it takes effort. You launch a Me Too product, 100 people will come and copy you. If you take the effort and the time, like they did at Traya, to develop a unique solution, and maybe it took 2 years, 2.5 years to develop it, and that incubation period is required, there's lots of opportunity in health and wellness.
Got it. So, for the audience's benefit, preventive healthcare is, I think it's fully absent in India, right? We don't have the concept only. Like a very interesting stat is that most Indians, the amount of money they spent on healthcare, 95% of that is spent in the last 5 years of their lives, right? So preventive is basically any lifestyle diseases, etc., etc. You just prevent it early on. Like,
Correct.
so some examples would be like what?
Hair, skin, weight, all
Supplements,
of supplements, nutrition, immunity. Immunity was a non-existent word. I remember 2016, I launched a product called HerboFit. It was a Chyawanprash in capsule form. And India consumes a lot of Chyawanprash, so I thought, I'll make it easier. I'll take this black, bitter, sticky, inconvenient paste and sell it in a capsule form. People will be very excited about it. And then we launched a toffee form for kids. World's first Chyawanprash in toffee form. Nobody cared until COVID. Because the word immunity didn't have any meaning to anyone. Then in COVID, everyone was like, oh, immunity, etc. And then there is now spill-off. People actually care for immunity. They take vitamin C, they take supplements, etc. All of that. So I think that behavior change is happening now across the board.
Got it. Awesome. Okay, my first question, since I have all of you here. I tried to get some health advice online and I got every health advice that is possible. Okay, पानी पीना चाहिए, पानी नहीं पीना चाहिए, खाना खाना चाहिए, खाना नहीं खाना चाहिए, अंडा खराब है, अंडा अच्छा है. And now I don't know what to follow, what not to follow, how to navigate this jungle of misinformation, information, disinformation, what do you want to call it. Please give us some, at least, like any of you can give, then please give any advice. I think you will most involved in the online world also.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think one of the first thing is that science isn't black and white. Every time somebody answers something with absolute certainty and is making shocking claims, that information can be safely disregarded. So whenever somebody comes up and says this causes cancer, it's shocking. It's meant to shock you. So it has a shocking factor. So that's information is purely there just for the
That shocking
views.
factor is probably to get the
Just for the views. So that kind of information can never be reliable. Another thing is when somebody makes tall claims of fixing something which has not been fixed for large majority of the people. Let's say cancer. People say this will cure cancer, that will cure cancer. If it actually cured cancer, we'd have it by now. By hook or by crook, we'd have it. You can't keep a secret like a cancer drug from the whole world. So these kind of things, they are usually clickbait, scams, and claims like, oh, this will detox your liver. Like liver ka kaam hi hai body ko detox karna. So you can't detox a detoxifying organ, right? So all these kind of informations, people need to take it with a pinch of salt. Shocking, quick results, these are typically scams.
But it's quite scary, right? Because like we can say this, and I now that I've read so much of this information, I try to figure out the one with a lot of ads, etc. All of that, those articles, even though they come on things like very well renowned publications which we won't name, but bulk of India falls for it. My mom falls for it every day.
Yeah.
So how do you stop that? I don't know.
I think one other thing is that because you said mom, I keep telling my parents, right? First is question the source. And can you go to a more credible source? So rather than listening to an influencer, can I go to a doctor who's sitting in Australia, who spent 10 years researching on that subject, doing a long format 1 hour episode on his discovery. So you sort of question who is it that is saying, and with WhatsApp sharing, there's
That's
no
the thing,
source,
The
right?
share button is the easiest thing to click.
Which is scary. So I think questioning where is it coming from is something that needs to be there, so that there's some filter happening there.
Is there a lot of misinformation about hair growth also online?
Absolutely. I think when we started off the company, the biggest sort of challenge was that this is a market which is the most cluttered, most competitive. There are 5,000 products out there. If I have to name a product called Kesh something, there is no second something left. There is like, we've done like some wordplay there. Every Kesh something has a license taken. Kesh Kranti, Kesh Vikranti, both are taken. It's that weird, okay? So that's how that's how crazy the space is, right? And then, there are home remedies and influencers and everyone just talking about some fix, like you said, right, to growing your hair. I think there has to be some regulation around, and I think it's coming slowly. We are better off now than we were 4 years ago. The platforms are flagging influencers when they're putting wrongful claims or something which is very a tall claim. So there's some regulations coming. I think platforms are the first ones doing it, hoping government will follow, bodies will follow. But apart from regulations, I think people are also getting smarter. So 4 years ago, influencer marketing worked very well. I think now when people watch, they know कि शायद इनको भी पैसा मिलता है.
That's the scam, friends.
Yes, I think people are
That's a
also
Yeah.
people are also getting smarter, which is a good thing.
Speaking of which, मुझे इस podcast के पैसे मिल रहे हैं दोस्तों. Anyways,
It's human insecurity as well, right? Like specifically hair, some amount of skin, weight, and sexual wellness are the 4 categories. Like we operated a little bit in some of these categories and a lot in some other categories. And these are things that people are willing to pay anything for because they have been having the problem for a while. It's caused deep emotional, mental, sometimes even physical impact, caused deep issues in their life as well. And so people fall prey to a lot of these things and are willing to pay sometimes 10, 20, 30% of their monthly income to be able to solve these problems. One of these issues, I remember there was, so we used to have a lot of Facebook ads, and the customers that we used to cater to, a lot of them didn't know how to react to a Facebook ad, which means not click the link, right? They didn't know they'd click the link, go to the website, buy. So they would put their mobile number in the comment of the Facebook ads, and our customer service team would call them. And I thought, We leave the mobile numbers there, etc. Some scamsters started taking those mobile numbers and calling them, saying, I'm calling from Dr. Vaidya's. You tried to inquire about a product. 400 rupee product got sold in 40,000 rupees. A empty box comes to the customer. And then the customer is saying, hey, calling our customer care, then going on the website, calling our customer care number and saying, hey, I ordered your product and I got this empty box, etc. And I paid 40,000 rupees, refund me the money. And that is very, very common.
या एज लाइक जितना इंटरनेट बढ़ रहा है उतना स्कैम बढ़ रहा है दोस्तों. अपना सारा पैसा एफडी में डाल दो. बट okay, so I get the part about like the shocking claims and like tall claims and that is, yeah, I know people fall for it, but that's the easier ones to actually scan out. But there's a lot more conflicting information also. सुबह fruit खाना चाहिए, शाम को fruit खाना चाहिए. Like I feel like everything I've been doing is wrong. Like, and I start doing a new thing and then that's wrong. So just want some clarity. I think we can.
I think there the thing to understand is that every individual is different. Whether it's food, hair, whatever it is, right? So अगर कोई बोल रहा है कि egg white is better than yellow, probably it is for an individual who has a severe cholesterol problem, and for him the doctor thinks it's better to just stick to egg white. Now every individual will start following it. So generalizing statements is what is scary. And I think that's why people should listen to the gyan with a pinch of thing कि मुझे पता लगाना है कि मेरे लिए ठीक है कि नहीं. Do I need to follow this A or B if they are two conflicting things? So I think that awareness is all people need to keep in mind.
Got it. तो सुबह fruit खाना चाहिए कि नहीं खाना चाहिए?
नहीं, absolutely खाना चाहिए, खा सकते हैं, कोई problem नहीं है. Some people will complain of acidity. Some people will have some problems if they are hyper responders, or if they already have NFLD, which is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, in which case they are better off restricting their fructose intake. Now, having said that, not all fruits are high in fructose, right? There are fruits which are good for them. Let's say strawberries, for example, watermelon. They can absolutely have those fruits or fruit juices in the morning, right? So, like she said, every individual needs to take that information with a pinch of salt. Sweeping generalizations that, like I said, yes and no are absolutely bad. There's a whole lot of nuance. And another problem that I see is that even in medical profession, see, biochemistry, we were just discussing before this, biochemistry sucks. And a lot of people don't like doing biochemistry, or they don't, because it's boring, But unless until you understand biochemistry, unless until you understand how your body functions or how the physiology is there, you can't really assess all the information out there. So what you need to also do, besides just their educational qualifications, is how is their biochemistry knowledge. If somebody has their foundations clear, only that person can give you a much more accurate picture of what's happening inside the body. Because even doctors don't learn biochemistry in depth. Because first year they have their normal, just like how we did electrical, when we were graduating in computer science, we had like this thing, ED, which was drawing, and then we had some, but we didn't specialize in those subjects. Those were like generic subjects. So similarly, nutrition, basic physiology, basic biochemistry, these are like first, second, third, fourth semesters. After that, they get into specialization. So even for doctors, sometimes, they, and sometimes they fail to also update their knowledge. So it's very important that you listen to people who are working in the field. For example, if there's a longevity expert, so the scientist who's working actively on longevity would be able to provide a much better guideline compared to let's say a dentist. Both are doctors, but the specialization is very different. And then you have generalists who have like general information, who collect information from these sources and then they pass on to people.
Got it. So, mota moti, if you want to improve your health, then consult somebody, and I think it would be like a feedback oriented process. Like you try something, doesn't work, then you change, etc. Right?
Or you can just go to well-known sources and see if it works for you. I mean, you can basically, in India, there's like, and again, depends on your educational state. If you're a reasonable person, you look for something or someone who's making sense. So if you start looking for those kind of people, I think you can count the number of those people who are making sense on your fingers.
Got it. Understood. तो सुबह फ्रूट खाना चाहिए कि नहीं खाना चाहिए? आपने अभी तक पता नहीं, खा सकते हो?
In general, it's fine. And I'll tell you the problem. Most of the people say that fruits have fructose. Fructose cannot be metabolized in your body. Sure, it does not metabolize in your body, but it can get metabolized in your liver. There's an enzyme called fructokinase or ketohexokinase, which breaks down fructose into fructose 1-phosphate. From there, it converts to DHAP and aldehyde, and from there, it undergoes glycolysis, which
इतना
again
अगर
generates
बायोटेक में
ADP.
पढ़ा होता तो आज मेरे को कॉमेडी करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती।
So
क्या-
basically, there is a mechanism through which fructose can get metabolized in the liver.
Got
So concentrated fructose, because your liver is like 50-60 ग्राम का आपका liver का size होता है, अब उससे ज़्यादा fructose consume करोगे तो problem है. लेकिन fruits में उतना fructose होता नहीं है, and fruits are never concentrated fructose. They are a source of fructose plus glucose combined.
And fiber as well.
Yes. So it makes very difficult for somebody to obtain very high amounts of fructose from fruits.
And that answers your
See,
question.
now this is clear, right? Much better because you understand the biochemistry, and this can be factually checked.
So just DM him on Instagram to understand the biochemistry.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But also, friends, don't eat fruits just because we said it. Okay, go do your own research, and your own body type might be different, right? That's what we are saying.
Yes.
Listen to everyone, but please do your own research. Talk to somebody. Amazing. I think that's a great point. Of you have to be very cognizant of where you're getting your advice from and check your sources, etc. Not to say that some influencers are not good. There are a lot of them doing a lot of great work also. Particularly, you did a collab with Pharmer, who I genuinely think his Read the Label campaign is one of the best things that has happened in India. It's such a simple message and it's so powerful that I have actually started reading all the labels of everything I eat, and I just find so many surprises every time. So many surprises. You did a collab with him, right?
Yes.
And what was that experience like?
No, I mean, I'm training him for the next 6 months, and the idea is to teach people that it's very simple to get fit. And if you just focus on 4 basic pillars, which is motion, nutrition, hydration, and rest, you can get fit and stay fit for your whole life. So that's the idea. And
Sorry, what are the 4 things?
motion, nutrition, hydration, and rest.
Oh,
Motion
hydration, nutrition में नहीं आता है, hydration अलग से आता है.
Hydration is drinking water, and then
मैं तो खाने के साथ पी लेता हूँ भाई.
no, but it does not provide you any nutrition. Yeah, it doesn't have any nutrients, no calories.
Got it. Amazing. So you're training him for the next 6 months.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Good luck with that. I also want to cover one more thing. I think both of you have a lot of involvement with Ayurveda. And one of the questions that we generally get is Ayurveda actually, does it actually work? I have seen it work anecdotally. And there have been Ayurvedic doctors in my family also. So I also have like a relationship with it. But when we speak in terms of science, is it provable that Ayurveda has any impact, or how do you see Ayurveda as? Like, what is it in context of
See, I
medicine?
think there's 2 parts to it, right? Let's take the longevity part first and then the science part second. So there are lots of misconceptions associated with Ayurveda. The reasons for misconceptions may be many, but basically, look, Ayurveda has been around for 5,000 years. Modern medicine has been around for 250 years. If Ayurveda did not work 2,000 years ago, before we were humans also, it wouldn't have existed, right? But it has existed, stood the test of time, and there are Ayurvedic formulations that are thousands of years old. Right? There are some newer ones, there are some older ones. So it stood the test of time. I think on the clinical validation and scientific validation, I think you have to understand paradigm, right? So what is paradigm? If you look at the way Western medicine, the way allopathic medicine works, it's problem solution oriented. Right? So my grandfather used to give a great example when he compared Ayurveda and allopathy. He said neither is wrong, and there are not so many allopathic doctors who are open to accepting Ayurveda, but he was one of the few Ayurvedic doctors who accepted allopathy. So he said, when he explained to me when I was a kid, he said, assume you're in a village, right? And there is a river that's going through the village. In the summer, the river has no water, but in the monsoon, the river has water. So there are 2 ways to get the villagers to cross that stream. One way is to have a raft service that helps them cross the stream and go from one side to the other. The other way is to, in a swimming pool or in a well, teach them to swim so they can swim through the village. Now, when you are suffering from a fever, I need to bring the fever down instantaneously. You cannot say that I will have an immunity supplement so that fever doesn't happen the next time. You have to solve the fever now. And that is allopathy. You'll have a paracetamol, bring the fever down. But for the fever to not happen the next time, you will have a Chavanprash or an Amla or an Ashwagandha, an Ayurvedic immunity supplement. So paradigm-wise, actually, problem solution versus root cause solution is very different. And that's why sometimes people get confused and say it doesn't work. Scientific validation and clinical validation, I will accept that a lot of our Ayurvedic formulations don't have the level of clinical validation that allopathy does. And that we need to do more work to get this clinical validation. But all our top ingredients do have clinical validation. So when I say Ashwagandha works for X, Y, and Z, or I say Shilajit works for X, Y, and Z, or I say Chavanprash or Amla works for X, Y, and Z, there are scientific papers that have proved the efficacy of these. Yes, my formulation with 21 ingredients for immunity may not have scientific validation yet. And yes, as an industry, we need to work towards that. But there is a lot of clinical validation towards Ayurvedic ingredients and the ingredients we use. I think there is lots of misconception and lots of rhetoric that for whatever reason has sort of come about that Ayurveda doesn't work. I've been in a meeting where I was pitching to a VC where he said, hey, come on, let's be honest, before we start the meeting, it's voodoo, right? And that kind of stuff, right? And we have to solve that. But 72% of Indian households consume at least one Ayurvedic product every day.
Got it. In the hair growth industry, is there basically I had to change my barber because my previous barber was promoting snake oil. Every time he would give me a haircut and they were like, "Third, ek saap ka tel or something." I'm just joking. No, but every barber has a oil that they'll promote. I don't know if it's scientifically verified, etc., etc. So, is this prevalent?
So I'll share a little bit of what I saw in Traya's journey, right, in Traya's purview. I came from a family of allopathy doctors where my mother, who was a doctor, always told me as a kid, ये सब quack है, ये सब हम नहीं खाएंगे. However, we were pushed to a situation where nothing in allopathy was working. And when you generally reach that situation where there is no treatment available in allopathy, you look out for alternatives. कि कुछ भी try कर लेते हैं types. That made us personally in our life meet Ayurveda or experience Ayurveda. When we started Traya, we have doctors at Traya, and every customer who comes to Traya gets a doctor assigned. So we have a team of dermats that work. And when we started off, we had to tell the dermatologist that Traya is Ayurveda, allopathy, and food science, which is diet. और आपके साथ एक आयुर्वेदा डॉक्टर भी ये कस्टमर को प्रिस्क्राइब करेगा. Which means on a table, we had to get a dermatologist and an Ayurveda doctor agree to each other, which was impossible to do. And because the dermat had the same questions, कि मतलब क्या efficacy है, इसमें क्या खिला रहे हो, क्या जा रहा है. So very early on, we had to start doing evidence-based studies to convince the dermat कि ये काम करता है और ये safe है. So I remember from the first seed funding that we got, first thing we did was we started a clinical trial. So for the formulations that are at Traya, we have done clinical trials. Now we are doing a clinical trial, which is very interesting, against the most efficacious molecule, which is minoxidil. So we got data, we got study done, and the studies were done through how the scientific studies are done. It was done through a clinical research company, independent. And then when you take an evidence to a doctor and you show them metal testing done, it's safe, it's just this, and this is the evidence, they are very open. Today there is more than 50 dermats at Traya who are okay with this. So I think, I hope that more companies invest more money in evidence-based studies for Ayurveda. Of course, for the star ingredients like ashwagandha, etc., like he said, it's all available. But even for the complex formulations, I think all that is missing is some evidence-based research. And then people will understand that there's data to prove that it works.
Correct. Also, sorry, this may not be relevant, but I don't know anything about Ayurveda, but I know that there are a lot of people in villages who practice in the name of Ayurveda. They're not like proper Ayurvedic doctors, and they cause a lot of harm, sad to say, and hopefully the government will take some steps to stop that.
But I think on that, so if you see the way the industry is structured and regulation is, right? Technically, any Ayurvedic doctor can sell an Ayurvedic medicine from their clinic, right? So that causes two problems. The first problem you talked about is not an Ayurvedic doctor practicing Ayurveda. The answer to that is simple. Like you ask the person, like you go to an allopathic doctor, you see the degree stuck on the wall. Only if someone is qualified and has a degree, which is a BAMS degree or an MD Ayurveda, etc., would you trust them. The people who are scamming in villages, at least some knowledge needs to be increased on that. The other problem that the industry does see is medicine, right? So technically any Ayurvedic doctor can in their clinic premise prescribe medicine to their patients. Now, we talked about Revant and Food Pharmer earlier, etc., all of that. Every time you're buying an Ayurvedic product, if the product is licensed, and by the way, our products are licensed, if you're manufacturing it in a facility, we follow the same level of regulations that allopathy does. We go to the same FDA, get our same approvals, etc., all of that. You just check the label and you'll see on the license number, next to the license number, there'll be AYU and then a number, right? So that says that the Ministry of Ayush or the equivalent state body has approved the product. If you're buying a non-licensed product, then you are susceptible to that person making it in whatever way they are doing it. If you're buying a licensed product, then there is regulation, there is inspection, there is infrastructure, there is some amount of check and balance. So I tell most people, go to whatever Ayurvedic doctor you want, understand whatever they are telling you, follow whatever they are telling you, but buy only from licensed suppliers. Buy only from someone who has gone through the headache and the structure to create a approved facility.
That's a very good point. And every Ayurveda doctor that you will go to will say a different thing, because it's not an evidence-based science. They have their own approach of solving the problem. You go to multiple allopathy doctors, they'll mostly talk the same flowchart of why this is happening, this is the diagnosis, and this is the treatment, right? And then they'll give you some powder and some pudiya. So if you sort of, what he says makes complete sense. If you take something that's licensed and manufactured, you are solving one problem. The other problem with the industry is that there's a lot of misuse to what Ayurveda is. So for example, let's say the scripture says that Brahmi is good to eat, and if you eat Brahmi, then this kind of, it'll nourish your hair. Now Brahmi goes on a shampoo bottle for the label with hardly any few drops of Brahmi, and the shampoo sticks to your scalp for 2 minutes when you rinse it, and that is not what the
Good for your
scripture
hair.
is saying.
Yeah.
It is not going to benefit you, because Ayurveda is saying that you need to consume Brahmi in certain grammage, in certain way. The process of bringing Brahmi to that molecule needs to be in a certain way. Now that becomes a marketing gimmick. So a lot of people confuse herbal, natural to Ayurveda. It's not Ayurveda. I think understanding that you using an amla shampoo or a neem face wash is not Ayurveda is also important.
Got it. I think, a lot of confusion. I think in general in this segment, there's a lot of confusion about everything because everybody's trying to cash in on something. So I think it's purposefully created confusion also. But good. So read the license and see the degree if you have to use Ayurveda. So my next question is, what challenges do you face, and how did you grow your business despite the challenges? A little bit of that journey also you want.
So when we started Traya, the first big challenge was, like I said, most cluttered competitive market. And here is another small startup coming and saying, "Ke main baal uga dungi." Right? So everyone has a claim. How do you really build trust? Right? And I think that applies to any health company. It's a trust. There's no impulse buy here. In fact, I remember in the early days, people would visit Traya website 11 times before making a purchase, of the people who were making purchases. That's how much people would think about Traya. So that it takes time. And on top of it, we created a lot of hurdles for ourselves, because like I said, we started this company for the efficacy. Now, Traya can grow hair. There are certain rules to it, why Traya works. Number one, customization is required, which means I cannot make one star formula and say, sabke baal uga dega. I need to know who it is, what is going on in the body, what are the root causes that are accelerating his hair loss, which stage, types of hair loss, which means there was a long diagnosis that was happening online. and the doormat mandatory needed the picture of the head, which means that there was a change in consumer behavior. And if you know, every step in a purchase journey increases your CAC because there is an extra step. People were used to coming to a website, clicking on add to cart, buy now, checkout, payment, gateway and out. Here there is a company जो बोल रही है 20 क्वेश्चन आंसर करो, उससे पहले कुछ बेचूंगी नहीं.
क्या होता है?
Customer acquisition cost.
Got it.
So number one, hair test, big hurdle. People told us मत करो, ABC 4 ग्रुप बनाओ, लोगों को बोल दो तुमको लग रहा है तुम्हारा हेयर लॉस ये है तो ये खरीद लो, ये खरीद लो, ये खरीद लो, ये लाइक नहीं करेंगे. Number two, for any D2C brand, in the early days, marketplace is a very nice place to start selling because it's very difficult to get people to your website. It's very expensive. If we went on marketplace, we were like, हम तो customization कर नहीं पाएंगे. अब Traya का best product भी Amazon से ले लो, बाल उगने नहीं वाला है because it's the entire kit, which is the 3 signs coming together, that will actually work. So we couldn't do that. And it's just very difficult to sell a kit, right? आप 500-600 रुपए का एक हेयर सीरम बेचना बहुत ईजी है, बट व्हेन यू टेल पीपल कि 2500-3000 का एक किट ही लेना पड़ेगा, इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट. सो इन द अर्ली डेज वी जस्ट कुडंट सेल. We did ads, but people came, took the hair test, put pictures, and then went off, never purchased. So we picked up the phone and we started calling them. And then they were like, कैसे ट्रस्ट कर ले, ये क्यों मुझे क्यों 5 प्रोडक्ट दे रहे हो, ये आयुर्वेदा में ये गट के प्रोडक्ट्स क्यों दे रहे हो. Then we realized that there's such a big education gap. People think hair loss is shampoo, conditioner, mask. Literally people, consumer insight was कि मुझे shampoo, conditioner, mask दो ना, ये सब खाने का क्या दे रहे हो, मैं मुंह में कुछ नहीं डालूंगा. So we had to go and really educate people on those calls कि आपकी gut रिलेटेड है, आपका स्ट्रेस, आपकी स्लीपर, इसलिए हमने आयुर्वेदा का गट प्रोडक्ट ऐड किया, इसलिए हमने ये सीरम दिया, और यहाँ पे डॉक्टर है, ये आपको करेगा प्रिस्क्राइब, साथ में आपको प्रिस्क्रिप्शन आएगी. एंड देन वी स्टार्टेड टू सी कन्वर्जन हैपनिंग. So for the first, I think, year and a half, Traya was a purely consultative sales-led company, which is a model that generally is used by very high AOV. मतलब 30,000 का 40,000 का कुछ प्लान बेचते हो तो करना पड़ता है. But we had to do it because nobody was understanding what is Traya. Later, we sort of moved our learnings from what was happening in that call, sort of moved to digital marketing. And we did enough education to bring people to a level where people come to our website today and say, मैं stage 3 male pattern hair loss हूँ, क्या करना पड़ेगा? Right? People know gut is related to hair loss, why Ayurveda is coming in, why customization is important. So all of those things are being answered through, thanks to digital marketing, or digital media or video media, where one can go and explain things. So that was the third challenge. The fourth challenge was that for us at Traya, the revenue was never important. Like it was never a North Star metric कि क्या growth हो रहा है, क्या revenue हो रहा है. It was always that how many people saw results with Traya. And hair loss is something that cannot give results in 10-20 days. There is no instant gratification in Traya. Right? We don't worry about क्या शैम्पू की स्मेल है और क्या वो बाल सॉफ्ट करेगा ताकि वो यूज़र सेकेंड आके परचेज करो. All we care about is that this guy reaches the 5th month and sees regrowth, because that's how long it takes to see regrowth. So we had to really start thinking like a habit building company rather than a product company, and say, how do we ensure that maximum people reaches the finish line, because that's the ultimate goal. तो वो करने के लिए और मतलब it was, I think the first 2.5 years went in just figuring all this out, and then we said अच्छा अब grow करते हैं.
Got it. Very interesting. 2.5 years. Crazy. Were you scared?
Never scared. Always very. मतलब 30 लाख पर महीना रेवेन्यू आता था. मेरे हस्बैंड और मैं दोनों जॉब छोड़ के कंपनी चालू, बहुत खुश थे. खुश क्यों थे? बिकॉज
30 लाख पर महीना रेवेन्यू आता था, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
नहीं, जस्ट सेइंग ऑल D2C ब्रांड्स हु हैड स्टार्टेड अराउंड द सेम टाइम, हम सुनते थे अरे हम तो 1 करोड़ पे पहुंच गए, तुम अभी भी 30 पे अटके हो, हर महीने 30 पे अटके हो. सो डोंट थिंक 30 लाख इज बिग. Of the group that we were in, we were the last on the finish line. But why we were very excited, or sort of what kept us going through, is we were seeing the results. तो हमें कस्टमर का फ़ोन आ रहा है और वो लड़की फ़ोन पे रो रही है, यार तुमने मेरे ये देखो मेरी बिफोर पिक्चर आफ्टर पिक्चर, अब मैंने घर के बाहर जाना शुरू कर दिया, आपने मेरे बाल उगा दिए, थैंक यू सो मच. वी वर सो थ्रिल्ड that what the L'Oreals of the world can't do, our formulations are doing, that we were not scared. We were like, figure out कर लेंगे कैसे बेचना है. We were just so excited about giving those results that that tough part of the journey didn't matter.
Got it. Very nice. Amazing. Well done. You started from a WhatsApp group, then Facebook group, and then you decided to train people, basically.
Yeah.
And what challenges did you face? Because it sounds like people are just dying to have this thing, personal training and this thing. But I'm sure there are a lot of challenges.
Sure. So first of all, people just wanted to get trained by me because they thought I was doing something magical or I had some sort of a hidden secret. And then when we launched the website, I said, hey, I'm not going to train you because I like educating people. So I'll focus on education. And if you have questions, I'll answer questions. But if you want to get trained, you take one of these coaches, they will guide you. They'll make your diet plan, they'll help you online, they'll correct your form and everything. One of the biggest problem with people was that they were not willing to accept. And we were one of the first few platforms who were doing online training. They weren't willing to agree that you can train somebody online and they get fit online. So it was pretty tough to convince. But unlike her, like our company did almost like $1 million+ in first year, all bootstrapped. And we basically, our investment was just 90,000 rupees.
What?
Yeah. So we reached that $1 million mark in the easiest possible manner. I think the biggest challenge for us was to go from 1 million to 10 million and then now wherever we are. I think that was the biggest challenge. I think now the biggest challenge is that how do we go from here to the next level? And our company remains passionate about primarily just educating people. And to be very honest, now the market is such that, and it's very, right now also we don't do any marketing. We tried marketing, but it does not work for us. So for us, everything is result based. People come and there's no instant gratification because people have to do something which is counterintuitive. See, evolutionary, people are becoming more and more lazier. They don't want to work out. They don't want to eat right. They want to binge. They want to smoke and drink. We are telling them to do the exact opposite. So very difficult for us to tell ki nahi ye sab mat karo, do this because this is right. So very difficult to sell. But thankfully, we have a large community now, almost like it's a private community of roughly 700K plus people, and we have decent social media and so many results because after training 300,000 plus people, they talk to other people. And so that way we have, that's how we basically acquire customers. So practically our CAC is zero. But hopefully in future, we would do some marketing, but we don't know how to. Like we suck at marketing.
I mean, it sounds like you're in the best form of marketing because you're not spending anything and acquiring customers. So I don't know.
What happens is, as the market grows, right, you kind of hit a plateau. And what we have also seen is that unlike, so for us, most of our customers are coming from more developed markets rather than India. So we have more customers from US, and for example, our personal training, 70% of our clients are from US and only 30% clients are from India.
Indians living in the US?
Yes, NRI customers. So it becomes very cheap for them. And I think thoda sa ek education ka bhi ho jata hai because in India we are in that mindset and only 0.3% of the population works out, right? So for them, they'd rather pop a pill than focus on lifestyle and, like awareness. And out there, thoda sa education level zyada hai. Like you'd see more of the apps, they believe in science, calorie counting, and, focusing on sustainable lifestyle habits rather than just popping a pill and, going after these 5-day, 6-day detox fads. वो अभी इंडिया में, that is kind of now come to India. So उसको जाने में थोड़ा time लगेगा.
ये जो like basically what I'm understanding is you have a trainer here and the client is in the US or wherever, and you're doing like Zoom online classes.
We have our app.
You have your app,
yes,
but it's online. Did this start during COVID? Was there a demand for this, or were you doing it before?
Like I said, in the first year, which was 2016, we did $1 million in business.
But this US thing also you're doing that time only?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an online community. So right from the beginning, even now, the community is, I think 20% people are probably from US.
But the US thing works because of price arbitrage, right? Like how much they're saving massive amount of money. Think about
Yeah, they are.
it's like
That's there.
1/5, 1/6, right? For the same quality.
1/10.
1/10, right?
Yeah.
This is I just love even for comedy. If you go and do shows in the US, they're far more profitable. Like for the Indian crowd only,
Yeah.
but because of the pricing,
It's
it's far more
purchasing power
profitable.
parity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then you have like 10 million NRIs living in the US. So
And pretty much all wealthy.
Wealthy and
most have done very well in
yes,
the US.
and wealthy and concerned about their lifestyle, because when you go to the US, the most unfit people are actually Indian people. So they kind of feel like left out. So they want to spend in their health and well-being there. India में क्या है कि थोड़ा सा वो चलता है attitude, because every other person is
Unfit.
yes.
Man, you reminded me of something. I actually had gone to LA for a show, and then I stepped out of my apartment, and in shame, I went back to my apartment after half an hour because everybody looks like a Greek god there. Everybody.
I have a similar LA story. I went to LA and दोपहर के 3 बजे I saw people jogging on the road.
Yes.
I was like, यहाँ पे दोपहर को भी लोग jog करते हैं.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to say that in general Americans का health क्या है मुझे नहीं पता है, but LA में तो मेरी फट गई भाई. मैं
Now it's on decline. Like in US
The worst
also
of that
you
is
have
Miami. When I've been to Miami,
Yeah,
we used to go for this music festival while we
very
were in
bad
college. Oh, you'd feel really bad. Really, really bad.
They're all
And
fit.
I would convince
And it's a
myself that my
beach town,
jeans,
right? So people
my
are also shirtless.
I'm
showing
Gujarati.
off.
I'm Gujarati. तो होगा नहीं तो छोड़ दो. But hopefully JC can help me solve that.
No. In US also there's different sections. If you go to different places, you will see completely different picture.
Yeah,
For example, if you go to Chicago, it's very difficult to find an unfit person in Chicago. Boston also very fit people. But if you go to San Francisco, or if you let's say go to some other cities, New York for example, you'd find a lot more unfit people there.
And if you go to Central, you will find obesity is a very big problem.
Very big problem. Obesity is a very big problem in the US also.
यार हमारे भी यहाँ पे तो गांव में लोग जनरली फिट ही दिखते हैं. Like you go to, I just went to my village. I saw 20 people. They're not. I'm not saying fit like.
Yeah, not shredded, but they
yeah.
are like lean and healthy,
Yeah.
and they walk kilometers. Yeah.
Yeah, because
India has that unique problem, right? We have a massive malnutrition problem at the bottom of the pyramid and a massive obesity
Yes.
problem at the top of the pyramid,
Yeah.
which is actually unique. Most countries don't have such a situation, right? Where you're trying to solve polar opposite issues for different kinds of people.
Actually, so fun fact, this is the first time in history that India has malnutrition, not because of less eating. It has malnutrition because of overconsumption of food. So more kids in India for the first time in history are malnourished because they are eating wrong food.
Wrong food.
Not because
wrong
of
food as in क्या खा रहे हैं?
malnutrition can happen because of overconsumption and underconsumption. Now malnutrition is happening because of overconsumption of foods,
Wrong kinds of food.
wrong kinds of
क्या
food.
chips
So
विप्स खा ले रहे हैं क्या?
less
बहुत ज़्यादा?
protein, more fats.
So you get 10 rupees में stuff like chips or instant noodles
Candies.
or
Yeah.
glucose biscuits, which are 5 rupee packets. So even a construction worker kid will spend 10 rupees and buy one of those things.
Got it. हमारा प्रोटीन का तो कम है ही अपने कल्चर में.
Very
थोड़ा
bad,
प्रोटीन तो
yeah.
कम ही खाते हैं हम लोग.
Yes.
दिक्कतें तो है भाई साहब. वो धीरे धीरे सॉल्व हो जाएगा. दोस्तों अगर देख रहे हो एपिसोड, ऐसा नहीं कि जाके प्रोटीन खाना चालू कर दो, उसका बैलेंस रखो थोड़ा. How has it been your journey as a investor? Like you have very different profile. What have you learned? Like you have been a founder also, you have been an investor also. And is it very different, similar? How is it?
Yeah, look, first I'll say that while I was a founder, Saloni enjoyed the 2.5 years that it took to hit product market fit. I was freaking out. It took the same amount of time for us to reach the same amount of sales. I had left a very, very high paying job. At that time, I was in a private equity job. I used to get 30 lakhs in 2016, 24-year-old. I left that. Then I got engaged and I convinced my fiance also to join the business. And then we were doing nothing in sales. We were like 10 orders, 20 orders. So I think I at multiple times during that 2.5 year journey before we hit what we call product market fit, questioned whether I was even doing the right thing. And obviously people around me also did the same thing, right? Questioned, is trying hard but wasting his time, nahi chalega, etc. All of that. So I think that patience was really challenging. And then obviously I entered an industry which was characterized by people who have experience and people who have much more legacy, right? A lot of the top Ayurveda brands in India, other than Patanjali, have 50, 60, 100, 150 years of experience. And then you have this 24, 25-year-old kid who can't even grow a mustache and beard coming to you and trying to sell Ayurveda. And I remember I wouldn't shave when I'd go to meetings because people won't take me seriously. So I think establishing that trust was also very difficult. Like, we didn't get to $1 million in sales in the first year. We didn't get to $1 million in sales for the first 3 years. I think eventually when we sort of were able to scale the business and do what we did, some learnings came on how the e-commerce playbook works, how to scale a brand, a lot of mistakes that we made, right? Like not building a brand at all. See, in health and wellness, it's all about trust, right? Everyone said it multiple times here. And then we operated our business in a time where competition was lower than it is today. And so you could just advertise on Google and Facebook and you're the only brand advertising. If someone wanted, they take your product, right? There were less customers. Yeah. But if someone wanted, they take your product. And then by the time COVID came, you were already so big that people only bought your brand. But there were lots of learnings on how to build a brand, when to build a brand, on organic content funnels, which you guys know very well, on building a team, etc., all this infrastructure. So I was able to take some of those learnings into being an investor. Being an investor is very different from being a founder. You know, a lot of investors may say that it's very similar. We are like founders. We are enabling founders. It's much more chilled, honestly. It's not less busy. I think when I say that life is a little bit more relaxed, it's not less busy because you're putting in the same hours. Or at least I like to put in the same hours. But you have something called a portfolio approach. So let's say in my fund, for example, I'll have in the first fund 10, 11 companies. If one company is not working, I'll still get to sleep at night because the other 9, 10 will work. As a founder, if your company is not working, all your eggs are in one basket. So you won't get to sleep at night, right? So I think that's the difference. I'm honestly doing intellectually the most stimulating work in the world. Just imagine I get to meet people like this every single day and they tell me about their business and all of their passion, etc. And hopefully, as a founder, I've learned some few things here and there that have helped me be a little bit better equipped than other people. So that's but it is a fundamentally different journey. And honestly, my wife was my co-founder in my business. I convinced her to join. She tried to do this investing thing and she asked me one question in 1 week when she was also trying to be an investor. She said, "So Arjun, what's your output of this week? You spoke to 100 people this week and how many companies are you investing in?" And I said 0. She said, "You completely wasted your time." So eventually she could not be an investor. So I think it takes a certain type of person and a different rhythm towards the work, right? I may meet 100 companies and not find any to invest in. And the next 3 I meet, all 3 I can invest in. Right? So the work is very different, but intellectually very stimulating.
Got it. Also, less control. No? As an investor, you have
You have to let go. So I think there is a positive and a benefit of being a founder. The positive is that you have seen some of the journey, and so at least some people have told me you ask the right questions, or you don't focus on the sort of things that are not so relevant, right? Like let's say, for example, it's an early stage company, maybe their PF or ESIC is not exactly completely in order, but I've been through that journey, so I know, so I won't spend as much time on it as I will on revenue or products or something like that. But the biggest problem about being a founder who's turned into an investor is that sometimes you don't believe things are possible because you have not done it. Right? Like, let's say, for example, I followed this rhythm in my journey. I saw these kind of things in my journey. I saw these things not work. Times have changed. People are better than you also, right? You have to accept that guy was 10x better than me and so he's able to do it. And so initially in my journey, I thought that I didn't accept certain things. Thinking, it's done like this only. Maine aise kiya. So I was looking for those patterns, but sometimes to look outside those patterns, and then letting go is hard. You're seeing someone do something wrong. You know it's going wrong. You know it's going to waste 3 months and, I don't know, 20 lakh, 50 lakh rupees. But you can only help, advise and make those statements. But the journey is the founder's, not yours. So I keep telling founders who are starting to invest, you're not the captain of the ship. You're not holding the steering wheel. You're the guy who's holding the sails when there is a storm. But you can never be the captain of the ship and you can't even get close to holding that steering. So it is different.
Got it. Very interesting.
I think adding to this, one of the things also is that a thing needs to be done in a certain way. They learn the best after having done it and maybe failed. At least personally, I've seen that, a lot of people said, don't do this, don't do that. But you just don't have that conviction unless until you try it and fail. And then the learnings that come, that's like 100 times better than somebody telling you, don't do this or don't do this.
So I was very keen to go to Harvard for an MBA. It was like a dream. I'd done the GMAT while I was in my finance job and all of that. And then I started this business. And initially, we put the money, my family put up a little bit of money in the business. And we lost some 70 lakh rupees in the first year of our business. Lost, right? And my dad had put the money, so I went to him sheepishly with the first year's PNL and 70 lakh rupees and stuff. So he looked at it and he was okay, right? He said, look, you tried and you worked and fine, you'll get better. But he looked at that loss number and he circled the loss number. And he said, this is what a Harvard MBA costs, but I can tell you it's so much more valuable. At that time I was saying, he's my dad, he's trying to be nice to me, etc. All of that. But that experience of losing that 70 lakhs means I never want to lose that 70 lakhs again. And everything I did there, I'll never do again.
Got it. Amazing. One thing that is common between Ayurveda, hair growth, or even personal fitness is that the end product, वो जो इफेक्ट दिखना है, हेयर का ग्रोथ होना है या फिर बॉडी बननी है या फिर फिटनेस आना है बेसिकली, वो तो डिसिप्लिन पे डिपेंड करता है कि कस्टमर कर रहा है कि नहीं कर रहा है, राइट? सो आई थिंक दैट्स अ वेरी डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्री देन समवेयर यू जस्ट give it like a TV, just give it and the TV works. So I'm sure the way you sell or the way you market is very different. How do you approach this?
I think the first piece is the first communication that goes out. At Traya, at least, we made sure it sets the right expectation. So even the first 20-seconder ad says 93% efficacy when you use Traya for 5 months. And we were bold enough as a hair brand to say कि 5 महीना. And we actually did a competitor study of existing hair brands. And everyone said 10 दिन, 20 दिन, 3 हफ्ते, 2 हफ्ते, because nobody is going to be okay with 5 महीना. But that's what is reality. So we did it, and in hindsight now I can say that it was a right thing to do, because now when people give up in between, they know that, we hear that मेरे लिए नहीं चला क्योंकि मुझसे हो नहीं पाया, which is way better than ये नहीं चलता है. The other thing is that with fitness, right, people know कि मैं गलत खा रही हूँ तो मेरा weight नहीं गिरेगा. With hair loss, it was a slightly more difficult task because the expectation is कि नहीं होना ही चाहिए ना, result आना ही चाहिए, and they don't realize that there's habit building that's needed. So we started providing something called hair coaches. A hair coach in Traya is similar to a coach or a personal trainer in somebody's life. This person guides the person, ensuring that they understand what is in their kit, what to do, handles their concerns. And this people who were talking to coaches had way more retention, way more success rate than people who were not talking to the coach. So we realized that we cannot be a company ke product becha and bye-bye. Because our North Star metric is result, which is 5th month, we'll have to sort of handhold them till we get them there. So that handholding emphasizes again and again on month 1 का goal इतना ही है, नहीं रुकेंगे पहले 45 days, आपका hair fall भी नहीं कम होगा. When someone tells you this on your face, right, people like it. In fact, Traya mein, if you are, let's say, an advanced stage, right, and the test identifies that you are stage 6, 7, the website says we are not going to sell you because you are an advanced stage and we cannot grow your hair. Every brand is so busy selling that people love honesty. So that's my learning, that just be transparent, honest, and that's the way to go.
Amazing. Great. A lot of people say being transparent and honest doesn't work, but good to know you're at least standing by it. Same for you. अगर मैं आपका साइन अप कर लिया पर मैं क्या पुशअप्स नहीं मार रहा हूँ तो मेरा तो कुछ होगा नहीं. So how do you make sure?
No, I think it works the same way. I think first thing is people come to us because they have failed. So our clientele is not youngsters. You'd be surprised to know that 80% of our clients are actually 30, 35 and above. So people who understand that nothing comes easy, and these are the people who have been there, done that, tried all sorts of nonsense, it didn't work, and they now know that only thing that will work is lifestyle intervention. Lifestyle interventions are tough because they know what's wrong. So what we sell is not a diet plan or a training plan. What we sell is basically accountability from people who've been there, done that in your position, and now they're going to handhold you. So behavioral coaching, helping them quit bad habits, helping them adopt new habits. Right? So it's more of a behavioral science on top of that good knowledge of nutrition and training that works for customers. So the first call, like she said, even in our business, the first call from the coach is extremely important. Setting the right kind of expectation and then telling them, okay, look, if you follow the results, you'd see a linear graph, but that's again dependent on 4 different variables: motion, nutrition, hydration, and rest. And these things you're not going to control 100%. And the important thing is that just stay consistent on the path. Even if the path is not linear, you'll end up getting results because you're being consistent. And another thing is that we don't make any quick promises. For example, you would never see lose weight in 5 days or 10 days. We don't do any sort of claims. We don't even tell them that you will be able to lose, let's say, 6 kgs or 8 kgs in 3 months. We don't make any such claims. We say, if you're happy with the results, well and good for you. Results vary amongst people. If you're not happy with the training, you get your 100% money back. Right? So I think transparency, and in our case, like I said, we don't do marketing. So primarily people come to us because they have heard about us from their friends and family members. And that is, I think, the biggest source of trust.
Yes. Actually, you said results are not non-linear, and that is such a amazing learning from life. Like it's not just related to this. I have seen in comedy also, results are non-linear in the sense that you can keep doing the same thing for 3 months, 6 months, and it doesn't work. And then the 7th month, you'll find something that really works. Even in like music or whatever, there are many days where you will not be able to sing or play the guitar, etc. I think this is even in startups. Like while starting, it may not work, it may not work, and then and I think that's. I mean, that's a great thing, and I think young people, older people obviously understand this much more intuitively. But for any young people watching this podcast, please keep that in mind. Results are not non-linear, but over a long period of time, they average out and give you very good returns.
Yeah.
How conveniently
absolutely.
Biswa put us, all of us, in an old
In the old people, yeah.
No, not you. Any young people watching.
But we are old.
No, he meant that older generation
Older
people, they
generation
understand
understands.
this. Yes.
Because like once you're reaching like 30, 35, then you're like, I have tried 9 things and given up, so nothing is working. So then what am I doing wrong? And then you see your friends and they're like, oh, this guy was so dumb, but he just kept doing it, and he has, you know, that's the you would underestimate somebody thinking that this isse to kabhi nahi hoga, and he would just keep at it and he would make it happen. And so many stories like that. So I was just saying for young people, like if you're doing something and it's not working, don't give up. Keep at it. That's the that's a simple point I was making. I wasn't calling anybody old. Okay. Is it the same with Ayurveda? Like the person has to follow the discipline, right? With any Ayurvedic product or anything?
Yeah, I think like if you look at health and wellness in general, the industry works differently from a consumption perspective in that it takes longer to convince someone, but if you convince that person, they can stay loyal to you for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, daily consumption, right? So in startups, we say like customer acquisition cost may be higher, but lifetime value is infinite at time, right? So for example, there may be some supplement that I was having, let's say for example, in Dr Vaidya is having an allergies supplement, right? That helped me with my dust allergies. I had it every day for 4, 5, 6 years until they discontinued the product after I sold it. So it's very tempting, honestly, to, and you see it a lot across the board, to make certain promises that will yield certain economics that make it work. But this business only works with massive repeat purchase. Like over and over and over again, the customer is buying your product. And one founder once told me, he's the founder of a food brand, he told me, it's very easy for you to get, our founders are good salespeople. So it's very easy for you to get money out of someone's wallet to buy a product once. The true secret sauce is when they take out money to buy it the second time without you pushing them to buy it. And especially in our business, that's what makes it tick. And so you will see, and I saw in my journey as well, a lot of people selling easier to sell products with not so much differentiation that didn't really work, but that was easy for a customer to get convinced to buy. And it worked for some period of time, but then it went away. And then the businesses that really do stuff that helps people, especially in health, really health outcomes, changing people's lives in some way, shape or form, those things work.
Amazing. Slow to acquire, but it's like that tortoise and the hare story. Like it might be slow to acquire, but then it lasts and is much better. Amazing. Friends, I have some rapid fire question for you. But before that, you got Rajkumar Rao to do the latest series of ads, right?
Yeah.
I love Rajkumar Rao. But any particular reason you selected him? Anything in mind?
A very simple thought process. See, when you get an ambassador, you think of getting an ambassador, you think of who sort of personifies what your brand is, right? So we thought one very important aspect for us was that Traya needs to differentiate from all the beauty brands. So you don't want to get a really good looking 6-pack, 6 feet kind of guy with unrealistic puffed up 3-inch hairstyle saying hair growth. He doesn't need hair growth, right? And
Sorry guys, what to do? That's how I lost that brand endorsement actually.
and that's what unfortunately hair brands do, right? Like L'Oreal will put Aishwarya Rai with not her hair, but like a extension with colored and edited photographs. And so we wanted to put Aam Aadmi there. And Rajkumar Rao was like the Aam Aadmi who is hardworking, did everything on his own, built everything on his own. When we asked and did a consumer exercise survey, we didn't say who is like the most appealing actor. We said, who's the best actor and hardworking, and Rajkumar sort of won that. So instead of, let's say, Hrithik Roshan or Ranveer, Rajkumar. Other thing that was a very big problem at Traya is we wanted to get somebody who has not done a transplant, because we are about preventive. We are about, hey, you don't need to reach a transplant stage, you can use treatment to grow your hair. And it's very difficult to get a celebrity who has not done a transplant.
Big problem in the industry. I have a bunch of rapid fire questions. Okay. Actually, I'll start from here because everything we have went like this. Okay. Ready? 4 questions per person. Okay. Best advice you've ever received?
Whatever you're doing, do it best. And my dad gave this example: even if you're selling Singh Chana on the street, be the most passionate Singh Chana seller there is.
Oh, that will be a sight. That's nice. One company you would like to invest in?
I would have liked to invest in Zepto. I saw it at Seed and I didn't do it.
What? Why?
It was called Kirana Cart at that time. They were doing fruit and veg delivery in 15 minutes. I didn't think there was a market gap. They pivoted and I lost the investment.
Okay. So you're saying?
No, I said, wow. That was a big missed opportunity.
Yeah. I think बहुत बड़ा loss हो गया तुम्हारा. Okay. A sport you would love to play. You love to play.
Football.
Football, okay. One wellness trend that you hate.
Ice baths. I wouldn't put myself through that, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, what's
That's how nicely he asked you, huh?
I asked
Is
him.
ice bath important?
I don't do it. I don't do it. I couldn't do it also. I tried. I couldn't do it, but I would not put myself through ice bath.
What is this ice bath?
He's not missing out on anything. It's a recent fad. I mean, see, for athletes, a recovery, it helps, but from longevity point of view, it does nothing for you.
Got it. Okay. Okay, JC. Gadget you can't live without.
I don't think there's any gadget. I can live without any gadget.
Apna fitness band?
Yeah. I can live without
fitness band.
No, I wear a
He's
ring.
wearing a ring.
Oh, your ring. Okay.
Yeah, but I can live without any gadget.
टीवी बिना देख रहे लोग हैं?
Yeah, TV तो मैं देखता ही नहीं हूँ.
अच्छा. कुछ तो होगा, कोई तो एक गैजेट होगा, कुछ नहीं है.
I mean, I have mobile phone through which I work, but if it's about living without a gadget, I can live without.
Okay. One fitness myth you would like to debunk.
आप liver को detox मत करो यार. Liver खुद वो काम करता है आपकी पूरी बॉडी के लिए. तो मतलब don't try and detox your liver.
It's
Liver
like-
detoxes your whole body along with itself. So you can't really detoxify your liver. It's a fad. It's a scam.
That's hilarious. This is the whole thing. People are detoxing their liver.
People are detoxing their liver without even realizing कि liver ही detox करता है body में.
Hilarious. It's like supplying oxygen to the lungs.
Yeah.
Fat,
Additionally,
yeah. For fat loss, weights or cardio?
weights.
Weights, okay. Fittest brand ambassador apart from you?
We'll get to know next month.
Really? Oh. Give hint.
Oh
Someone trustworthy.
That
my God. I was like excited.
Not Rajkumar Rao.
Virat Kohli.
Someone trustworthy.
Okay.
It's not a very-
Okay, give hint. Cricketer or actor?
An athlete.
Athlete.
Yeah.
Rahul Dravid.
Neeraj Chopra?
Sorry?
Neeraj Chopra?
No.
Guys, आप guess करो और जो करेगा
And then we can't reveal the name now.
That's
No, but
okay. You don't have to reveal.
Yes, and then when the name is revealed, whoever
Yeah, okay,
that
yeah,
was
that would be
gets
interesting.
a free transformation from JC.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Try
Okay,
your best.
so please
Give it your
guess.
best shot.
In the comment section.
Yeah, in the comment section, and you have to guess before the ad comes out, which is in a month.
Yeah.
Like the announcement comes.
Announcement comes out. Yeah.
Announcement comes in a month. So before that, please guess fastly. You will get membership.
Not membership, free transformation personally from him.
No. I don't.
Yes,
personally-
yes.
Like,
I don't train personally.
One session he'll do with you if you guess correctly.
Sure.
Okay.
Imagine if hundreds of them get it right, then I'm screwed. It's not a very tough.
The first one to guess.
Superleap will figure out the price.
Yeah. The first one to guess will get.
Sure.
Yeah. बाकी उसके बाद ठीक है. क्या क्या करना पड़ता है भाई स्टार्टअप में. ठीक है. Saloni. Favorite thing to unwind after work?
Play with my toddler.
Amazing. Wellness tip that you always give?
Oh my God. Wellness tip. I think of all he said, the most underrated is rest and sleep.
Yeah.
People still understand पानी पीना चाहिए, अच्छा खाना चाहिए, but sleep consistency, sleeping that many hours, recovery, sleep. In fact, अच्छा खाना, सन में जाना, पानी पीना इसलिए क्योंकि रात को अच्छे से सोना है.
सोने से क्या होता है?
सोना है सब
Yeah.
कुछ है.
Sleep is everything, dude.
I love sleeping. I mean, I sleep 10 hours
You
a
know,
day.
70% of the world doesn't get enough sleep.
What?
Yeah. Fun trivia.
What?
The day I eat sugar, I don't sleep well that night. I had no idea sugar can disturb my
Sugar,
recovery.
caffeine,
Yeah.
stimulants.
Caffeine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, guys, please sleep after this podcast.
Not while.
Yeah. One thing you don't like about couplepreneurs?
I don't like. I think sometimes work conversations entering your bedroom.
Got it. So, anyways, even if you are at a job, that will happen. No?
That's
Do you
so-
fight?
You have to set those boundaries. So when those boundaries are not there, कि हाँ मतलब office argument and fight cannot. You have to like switch. Which
तो
is
घर का
something-
झगड़ा अलग और
हाँ,
ऑफिस का
वो
झगड़ा अलग.
Exactly. घर का झगड़ा cannot go there and वहाँ का झगड़ा cannot come here.
ये तुम लोग का लाइफ बहुत डिफिकल्ट है.
Is it really possible?
I never found it possible. Everything just merged.
No, I think we have learned to maybe fake it to that level that we really are having the worst argument at work and the house door will open and our kid is there and switch. We are just loving and caring to each
Amazing.
other.
Wow.
That's amazing.
It took some years to reach there.
Right.
Advisable to start company with partner?
Definitely. 10,000 advantages. You asked a disadvantage, but lots of benefits.
Got it. When will Traya become Traya? Sorry. You asked me not to say Traya.
Traya.
Yeah, Traya. Yeah. When will Traya become a 1,000 crore brand?
Who cares? Let's say
That's a great answer.
When will Traya treat 1 crore Indians? And
it.
when will there not be a bald man walking on the road?
That's,
Let's say
10
those
years,
things.
10 years later, somebody comes to India, everybody's walking with an afro.
Wow, that's the dream. That's the dream. We are in 2024. Why should we suffer through hair loss?
Sure.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for coming for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please put your comments below. You liked, you didn't like, you want more guests, what kind of guests you want, etc., etc., etc. Friends, before you go, a quick word about Superleap. Superleap is a sales and marketing CRM application that is powered by AI. That's coming soon. And hope you learned something from this podcast. And bye bye, good night, and thank you so much to our guests. Please round of applause for the guests in the comment section. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Thank you.